All right. Time is 7 o'clock. Very good evening to everyone. On behalf of MTC Global family, I extend a hearty welcome to all of you. Ma'am has already joined the session. It's my great pleasure and honor to introduce Dr. Shalini ma'am briefly. Dr. Shalini Aggarwal ma'am, an alumnus of the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, is a professor of finance at Chandigarh University, Mohali. She has a total work experience of 18 years spreading industry and teaching. She is an MBA with specialization in finance and PhD in the area of risk management practices in banking sector of India. She has more than 40 research papers published in SCI, Q1, Q2, Scopus, and ABDC, AB, and C listed journal. Her case studies are published in IIM Ahmedabad Case Center. She has also authored two edited books published by Taylor and Francis. She has completed three funded research projects, two with IIM Ahmedabad and one by IMS Ghaziabad. She has conducted more than 100 workshops on data analysis using time series data in SPSS, E-views, finding variables and model building, SLR, bibliometric analysis, quantitative study, qualitative study, and R Studio, and has delivered guest lectures at national and international level like South Africa, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Thailand, Indonesia, and Brazil. It's a great pleasure, ma'am, to have you with us today and tomorrow. Now, I request ma'am to kindly take over the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Very good evening to one and all present here. So let's start with today's session. And today's session is on synopsis writing and thesis writing. So let's start with it. Is my voice clear and my screen is visible? Is my voice clear and screen is visible properly to all? Please respond. Okay. So let's start with it. Okay, so today's session is on synopsis writing, right? So let me increase the font size. Okay, we all understand, like synopsis may, do you, all of you is comfortable with English Hindi, or do you want me to speak only in English? English and Hindi is okay with all of you?
Yes.
Anybody?
Okay. English, Hindi both.
Okay. There is one person who is saying English. Shazim? Okay. Okay. Anyways, so I hope you all have completed your synopsis. Have you people all completed your synopsis? I want to know this thing first. Please raise your hands. Have you all completed your synopsis, or you are still in the process of doing your synopsis? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's start with it now. So when we write synopsis, so let me tell you what is the most important part and how do we go about it, right? So how do we write the synopsis? So let's start with it. The first important aspect is the topic or the area you want to select. You need to see what is the area that you want to work on, right? So this is the most important part. You need to see which is the latest trend that is going on in the industry. Latest trend. So you need to see latest trend going on in the industry, right? Like if I talk about, let's say there is a topic that is called the green finance. green HRM. So if I say, so you all will agree with me. So these are the latest trends or the topics, right? So the first important thing when we are writing the synopsis is to decide about the topic. And while deciding the topic, you have to think about the latest trends that is going into the market. So let's say green finance and green HRM, or you can also say that is a virtual reality, right? So virtual reality, this is another area that you might be interested in, or this is the latest topic that is there. So, so how do we go about it now? First important thing, once we have decided the area where you want to study, which area you want to go for, so the next important aspect is the review of literature. Review of literature. So review of literature may you have to see the kind of work other people they have explored so far, right? So how will you do that? Uh, what I'm trying to say here is, first of all, decide the area, right? So let's say हमने ये this is the area that we have decided. Then we have to go for review of literature, and we have to see what is the kind of work other people they have explored so far, because we have to find out the new work in this area, right? We have to work new work in this area. So उसके लिए what is required from our side is to go for the review of literature. It will Review of literature will help us the kind of the work the people has already been done. So how to go for that? How to go for a review of literature? So let me tell you this. Uh, Go to Google, type over here Google Scholar, press enter. So this is the first. एक minute, what all is happening? Acha, okay. So this is the free website. If you click onto the Google Scholar, this is one of the free websites where you can get information about the papers, right? So let's say my topic will be virtual reality. Virtual reality. So I type here virtual reality, and you can see the number of papers that has come out. So what does it mean? Just a minute, let me see. Ye site, I don't know. Okay, so you can see the different work that has been done by the people, right, on this topic, that is a virtual reality. So what will you do is you will start exploring, you will start opening up one by one each of the paper. So let's say यहाँ पर you can see there is a PDF file already over here, right? So what you will do is you will open this PDF file, and you will see the kind of the work this person has done by opening this. Let me open this and show you. So this is a paper somebody has written. So these are the authors who has written the paper on this virtual reality. So what they have done. So you need to check out what is the model. Look at this. This is something um technical. This is something technical paper, right? So like I am from a management field, so this is not very relevant to me. But what I will do is I will go for a review of literature. What I will do is I'll cite this paper, right? I'll cite this paper in my review of literature. Okay. So this is also very one of the most important part. Satya, what I'm trying to tell you here is review of literature is the most important part once you have decided the area of your study, right? And whatever studies that you are finding out, right, you start writing down into your synopsis. So like this is one way of doing the this is one way of writing the review of literature. Like this is the name of the person the methodology this person has used, what are the different results, and what is the gap. So this all will come from this person's study, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is about the review of literature part. Review of literature may you have to open up all the papers, around 100 papers, you must do that and see what is the model that they have used, right? So like this is an in-text citation, the methodology used, results, and the gaps. This is one way of writing the review of literature in your synopsis. Next, another way of writing is like this. Can you see to this over here? This is another way of writing the review of literature. So this is the Sahu, this work we have taken from Sahu. What has he explored? What is the methodology that he has used, and what is the outcome? So this is either this way or in the tabular form, table form. So this is the two methods that you can follow while writing your review of literature part. So how will you come to know that? You will explore this with the help of Google Scholar. So this is one way of exploring. So let's open up this paper. I want to show you something model or something like that. Let me show you this. This is another paper, right? This is also very theoretical. So this is also not of much use. So this is another is the book that will not open maybe. Uh, this is again okay. IEEE computer graphics. This is also not of use. Okay. So this is one way, right? So what is the another way to explore about the review of literature? That is a Scopus database. This is another way of exploring. It's opening up. Just give me a minute. Uh, Actually, our institute, I'm from Chandigarh University. So our institute has subscribed to this database called as a Scopus database or Web of Science. The one that I have showed you earlier, that is called as a Google Scholar. Google Scholar, right? So this is a free version. This is a free version. But if you go to scopus.com, so this is a paid version, right? And if you go to Web of Science as well, that is again a paid version. But you know, if you want to go for a literature review part, so these databases, Scopus or Web of Science, they are very, very useful. And if your institute do not have an access to the these paid software, so you can always go for the Google Scholar as well, right? So यहाँ से थोड़ा सा कम मिलेंगे options, but यहाँ से Scopus और Web of Science से आपको बहुत अच्छा मिल जाएगा. So let's say we want a topic on virtual reality, right? So let's put it like this. And let's say we want to link it with sustainable development. So let's see how many papers we receive from this Scopus database. Scopus database is a very, very good source, right? So you can see how many papers you have got from this 1011 documents that has been find out, and you can even say you want only the articles and you limit to this. So how much papers you got? You got this much of papers, right? And this is an open access. So let me open up this paper. Are you people, are you people, let me ask you. Hello, hello, every,
Yes,
I'm audible,
Yes,
na?
yes,
yes,
yes.
yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. And are you able to understand? Are you all able to understand? Please raise your hands.
Yes,
Okay. So this is not, I'm not able to download this. But anyways, so what you can do is like, there are different papers that you should download, right? Let's go back. What I am trying to tell you here is, like there are different papers, right? And let me show you one model. Let me show you one model. This is one paper of mine. Let me show you that. Just wait. What I'm trying to tell you here is, I'll tell you what. Okay, this is final paper. This is a paper on a green bond, right? So this paper, what I'm trying, this paper is published, right? So let me show you this. So let's say this is the model that I have made. Please remember that, when you are making your synopsis, please do it very carefully. If you will not make your synopsis carefully, you will end up into a problem. Abhi, yesterday and day before yesterday, I was talking to some people, and they have not made any model, and a random questionnaire was being made. Please do not do that. This is the right way to make to design a to design the objective of your study. So how do we do that? Why we are doing the review of literature? We are doing the review of literature to understand where is the research gap. Let me write it over here. Why we are doing the review of literature. So let me tell you this. Why we are doing the review of literature. Find the research gap. It means what? Just understand this very carefully. Now just have a look at this model. This is a paper on a green bond, right? So, we have tried to find out the perception of the retail investors toward green bond investment and try to find out its impact on the sustainability. We have taken these factors. So, with the help of review of literature, so you will come to know what work the people has done. So this is one model that we have already worked upon. So there must be many models or many variables which people have already worked upon. So you do not need to take this model like this. If you want to make with the help of review of literature, you will come to know what are the variables that people has already worked upon like this. So when you are going to design your objective, now you will take an advancement over to this. Like, let me tell you one thing. When let's say this is the model that has already been made by us, so what is the new thing or the new thing that you can put up? Now you know that greenwashing is a new concept that is coming into the market in this area. So what I will do is I'll take, even if I swap some of the variables and put some new variables over here and put greenwashing as well as a mediator or a moderator. So my work is done. Are you all getting me at this point? Please Please tell me, are you all getting me at this point? सबको समझ आ रहा है?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is the reason. That is the reason. So what I'm trying to tell you, why we are doing the review of literature. We are doing the review of literature to find out the research gaps. And how do you find out the research gaps? So like you go to a Scopus database like this, right? So let's say you go to a Scopus database like this and you see so many papers, right? So let's say 341 documents you find out. Now you need to read abstracts for this. If you read the यहाँ पर in a Scopus database or Web of Science, what do you actually get? You get abstracts over here. You can read the abstract over here, right? Or what you can do, you can download this file, you can export this file into a CSV. You can download everything over from here. You click onto this and you can export a CSV file. You can see on this bottom, this file is getting exported. 341 documents, it is getting exported. So let me tell you, how do you find this out? So you open up this Scopus file, and you click onto the abstracts. So these are the abstracts, and you start reading these abstracts. And in some of the abstracts, they must have used different variables, right? There must be different variables those people have used in these in these papers. These are the papers, or these are the work that is done by different people, right? ये Scopus database से you get an Excel file, CSV file, where each where each row is representing one paper. Each row is representing one paper, right? And there is an abstract over here. So you need to read these abstracts in order to find out the research gap, what other peoples have done, and on the basis of that, you have to make your own model. So let's say this is one model. When we started working on it, we find out the research gap in this area, that is the green bond retail green bond in investor perception. So this is the model that we design on the basis of review of literature. We find out there's a research gap, and on the basis of those research gap, we find this model. And now this paper is published. So when somebody else will look into this, now somebody else will move from here. They will not be using these variables. They can use these variables, but in a different manner, right, with other variables. So this is the reason for doing the research gap. I hope it is clear. It is clear to all. Please raise your hands. Any questions till here? Any questions till here?
Ma'am, hi, Mukund here.
Thank
I
you.
have a question.
Hmm.
Actually, my part, I have done my synopsis already. Now, my challenge is that how to find out these papers, like what you were trying to do now, Google Research Scholar and all. So, when you go, you are not able to download the papers actually. So, how to get this scopus and things so that we can get in a one bulk what you are showing. The difficulty is that how to find these papers.
Actually, sir, there are many organizations that have an access to it. Like you collaborate with people like from Symbiosis and all that. They have an access to most of the papers. So if you're writing paper, try to write the papers with the people who have an access to it. Otherwise, there is one Sci-Hub करके. This is a pirated website, Sci-Hub.
Mm.
So sometimes you also got the paper from here as well. So you enter the DOI number. If you enter the DOI number of the paper, previous papers तो मिल जाते हैं like. So if you enter the DOI number, so it will open the paper for you. So this is another way, but this is a pirated. I normally use this way as well. So this is one way of extracting the papers.
Okay.
Google Scholar is another way. I told you na right now. So Google Scholar, maybe if you click, because most of the people they put their papers over here. So if you write the topic like ESG and sustainable development, so some of the people they always put their papers over here. So you can download from here as well. Can you see to this?
Yes, I can see. But I mean, I'm very weak in that. So I'm still thinking how to prioritize this and after downloading, then study and then finding the gap and methodology, what you were saying earlier.
You
So
try
that's something
you
probably will cover within today and tomorrow, something like that, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, what I'm trying to tell you here is, like there are many organizations that give an access, paid access to their libraries.
Mhm.
Like I remember I went to MDI Gurgaon when I was doing my synopsis. When I was doing my thesis, so I went to MDI Gurgaon library, and they had a paid access. So anybody can go and you pay for hour wise, and then you can have an access to those libraries, and you can download as much as papers you want. So these are the only options that you have.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, ma'am. I'll continue to learn and then we'll ask later. Yeah.
sure,
Thank you.
sure. Right. So this is the research gap, right? Now, now you need to, okay. So this is the most, let me revise what we have done right now. The most important part when we are doing a synopsis is you have to decide about the topic, right? Or the area you want to select. Let's say these are the topics. Then you have to go for the review of literature. Review of literature, you can go from these very websites. That is a Google Scholar. That is a free version. Scopus.com, that is a paid version. Web of Science, again, that is a paid version. But you come to know about what is the different work that other people have done. So that is why we are doing the literature review to find out the research gap, right? So now we are set. We know what we have to, how we are going to proceed. Now the next important part is setting the objective. So now we know that there is a research gap. So let me take an example of this model as well only. So let's say if I am working on a topic that is called as a green bond. So I can see there are many factors that has not been used or many variables that has not been used over here. There is another variable that is called as a greenwashing. So what I will do is when I'm going to design my questionnaire, right? So I will make it a little different from what the other people has already made the models. Whatever models different people has already made, I'll try to make a different model out of it, right? So the next important task is to set the objective based on the previous studies, based on the previous models, what the previous people has made the models. You are going to modify those models and make a model of your own. You have to design your own model. So that is the most important part. So next important task is to set the objective. Now this is another thesis synopsis of one of my students. So he has written the research gap, objective of the study. Now, you know, please understand this very important. Just listen to me very carefully. What should be your objective? You know, how do you design your objective? Like, let me show you. Let's say this is a one of the models of my PhD student. This is on a virtual reality. This is the thesis on virtual reality. So he has made a model like this based on the previous research papers. We have used certain new variables into it. We have added certain new variables into this and redesign our model. So whenever you are setting your objective, please listen to me very carefully about this. Whenever you are doing your thesis, right? So designing the objective is the most important thing. And how do you do that? So use the variables, right? So virtual reality may, so these are the variables. These are the variables, right? And we are going to test about the virtual reality in a company, the perception of the different people about the use of the virtual reality in the IT companies. So we are going to design a questionnaire based on these variables, and these variables has already been proved previously. We are not going to design we are not going to design our statement ourselves. Let me show you this. Like on the basis of this whole model, my all my objective has been set. Please just listen to this. All my objectives. all the three objective of this thesis has been based on this model, full model, this full model. All the objectives has been made on this basis on this model, right? And we have taken the and how do we come to know about these variables? These are the variables, and I'll tell you what are the variables. So you also have to find out the variables the other people have used previously and modifying them in a different manner. You can use the variables and you have to present it, and this whole will consist of your objective of your study. Is it clear? Are you able to understand what I'm telling you right now? Please raise your hands. Yes. Any question, any query till now?
Ma'am, there is a
Yes.
question.
Hmm.
Ma'am, as you said, all the variables need to be, there in the previous literature, isn't it, ma'am?
Yes. Yes.
Can
Yes.
we include some other variables which are not there in the literature in that particular items? Like suppose I want to know the performance of mutual funds. Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
And
Huh.
as mutual fund actually is made up of portfolio of stocks, and
Hmm.
suppose price to book ratio is one of the most important variable in stocks. So can we include that in mutual funds? Is it possible? Indirectly.
You tell me one thing. What do you want to ask the question about this?
I
What
want
exactly is the question that you are going to ask to the people?
like whether the price to book ratio affect the performance
Yes,
of the mutual fund or
yes,
not.
yes, yes, you can do that. आप तो उसमें yes or no ही पूछोगे ना? You will ask only yes or no.
Yeah, suppose it's a secondary data. Suppose it's a secondary data, then can we use that?
No, primary data has to be a primary data. Primary data with primary data only.
No. Suppose in place of primary data, I have secondary data. So, and these datas were used in case of stocks, while it has not been used in case of mutual funds. So, but
You
indirectly,
can use, yes, yes, you can
yeah,
use that.
that's what I was
Yes,
asking.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Like, just say, let me tell you one thing. So when we are talking about the green bonds, so adopted scale, that is called as an adopted scale. So like, there is no social factor scale for green bond investment, measuring the perception of green bond investment. So what we have done is social factors, variables. These variables we have adopted the scale of different things like share market may. Does the social factors impact the perception of the retail investors towards investing in the share market? So these are the scales that is there, but not for the green bond. So we have adopted the scale for the green bonds market. So you can always adopt the scale, but the variables should exist. I hope this point is
Yeah,
clear.
yeah. Absolutely clear. Thank you.
Any other question?
हेलो मैम।
हाँ जी,
हेलो। हाँ
हाँ जी, हाँ
मैम,
जी,
आपने अभी कहा कि हाँ कि मॉडल में हमारे वेरिएबल वहां पे मेंशन होने चाहिए, या तो
हाँ.
इनडायरेक्ट वेरिएबल आल्सो यू हैव टू मेंशन ऑन द मॉडल,
Indirect variable, what do you mean by that?
which is not directly affected for the system. There is a two variable, na, direct variable and the indirect variable.
Okay, okay, right.
Yeah,
Like this
yeah. So
motivation.
indirect variable is,
Huh?
yeah. So indirect variable also we have to mention on the model.
Hmm. Bilkul, we have to do that. Yes.
Okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
We are unable to hear. Hello.
Hello.
Ma'am, are you speaking? We can't hear you. If I,
We can't hear you, ma'am. Hello.
I think she dropped.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Now we can hear you.
Yes, वो बीच में there was a disturbance in the connection. Anyways, okay. So is that point clear to all of you? What I was trying. Did you listen to this point of mine? So this is another paper of mine that is on impact investing. So these are the factors that has not been used for impact investing, but they are adopted from different other factors. So that way we can always use that. Is it clear?
Ma'am, this model we did not hear. Probably you were speaking on mute or
Okay, okay,
something.
okay.
You may like to repeat it.
Yes, okay, I'll do. No worries. So what I'm trying to tell you here is this is another model. This is a like what are the factors that motivates people to invest in impact investing. So impact investing is an another upcoming area where we do not have a proper scales. So what we have done is like these are the financial factors, these are the variables, three variables that we have taken, that is the adopted scale. So we have used this for the impact investing. We have used this for impact investing, right? So that is how you can make use of these variables. So let me show you one more thing about this. Um Scales में एक minute. In the thesis, it must be there. Let me tell you. Let me show you this. Just a minute. I'll show you the thesis. What do I mean by saying that? अच्छा इसको छोड़ते हैं. Like I'll tell you one thing. Let's go to effective commitment. एक ना, this is a variable. This is a variable called as a effective commitment in HR scale, right? So let me open the scale for you.
Hello.
Please, हाँ जी.
हाँ बोलिए. हाँ बोलिए. हाँ बोलिए.
मैम प्लीज अपना म्यूट कर लीजिए. एवरीबडी. प्रीता मैम.
हाँ बोलिए ना.
हाँ जी. So let me show you what I'm trying to say. Let me download this paper for you. This is a very good scale. Let me check it is there or not. Measures. Okay. Now look at this. Everybody, please look at this. This is a scale. This is a variable. Effective commitment is a variable. Like, look at this. What I'm trying to say, financial factor is a variable, right? And it has its statements. It has its own statement. Similarly, let me show you this. Effective commitment, if I talk about, is a variable. It has a statements. Look at this. I would be very happy to spend the rest of my career in this organization. Effective commitment. Commitment towards an organization. So this is one variable, and we want to check it in relation with other variables, right? So it has a scale. This has already been made by Allen and Mayer. So what I'm trying to tell you here is, so when we are variables are important, they should already be tested. So let's say if I say financial factors, let me show you it in my another paper on green bonds. Yahi paper tha, hai na? So let me show you this here. Look at this. This is the personal factors. So just read the statements. I would not buy green bonds if I was not clear that proceeds were going to be allocated on green projects. I have sufficient knowledge of investment in green bonds. I would enjoy exploring green bonds market for financial purpose only. I know a lot about green bond investment. So these are the personal factors that motivates the person to invest into the green bond. It scales now. These are the scales that has already been tested before and we are using this in our paper. Let me repeat this again. Another variable. Let's say these are the social factors. Social factors. ये जो statements हैं, these are the statement that has already been. This is called as a variable, social factor. So just have a look at this. What I am trying to say here is this is my model. So I have taken a social factor as a variable. It has the statements. Personal factor, it has the statement. Environmental consciousness, it has the statement that has already been proved by somebody earlier, and those variables we are using. So I am giving you an example of effective commitment. This is a scale on effective commitment. These are the statements. These are the statement for the effective commitment like this. So whenever we are using somebody's skills, so let me show you over here if I can see here. Sampling survey instrument. Ek minute, let me show you this. Either just look at this. एक मिनट what I एक मिनट अच्छा मैं यहाँ दिखाती हूँ आपको एक मिनट रुको इस वाले पेपर में let me show you this. Okay, this is my paper, right? इसमें measures में आप जाओगे, there is a term called as measure. Just a minute. Oh, I think इसमें भी है. Let me show this. Okay, ये रहा. Okay, now look at this. So when we have taken these statements, so this has been taken from this person paper, Roth 2020. If I have taken this statement, I have taken from this. I have taken from this like this. Are you getting me at this point? Please raise your hands if you are able to understand. Or do you want me to repeat this again? Do you want me to repeat
Yes,
this
yes.
again?
Please repeat.
Okay. What I'm trying to tell you, whenever you design a questionnaire or whenever you write a objective, right? So take the variables. Let me write it here. Take the variables that has already been tested. That has already been tested. Like, जैसे, let me show you this. This is a scale. This effective commitment. Let's say this is one variable. It has a statement. It has a few statements like this. So if we talk about, let's say, if we talk about this, let me show you this. Okay, social factors. So it has statements. Can you see to this? this statements, we have taken it from somebody, some paper that has already tested this. Matlab, जैसे you have sent a questionnaire to the different people, right? You send questionnaire to different people, and so similarly, you you have tested these variables have a statements. So when you are taking a variable and making a model for your thesis or a synopsis, when you are making a model like this, right? So these are the variables, and these variables have a certain statements, and just let me show you. So these are the statements, and this becomes a part of the questionnaire as well. So this becomes a part of your questionnaire as well. So let me show you. ये variables हैं that has already been used in the previous studies. So variables आपको, you have to take only those variables that has a statement that has already been tested. Like, this is a very good example. Effective commitment is a scale, or effective commitment is a variable, right? Effective commitment is a variable that is these statements in it. And when you design a questionnaire with, like, let me show you this. Ek minute, let me tell you what I am trying to say here. This is the thesis. So let me show you virtual reality. So what we have done is, over here, look at this. uh, Upper, you have seen we have taken a virtual reality readiness in a company. So just look at this. This is the, let me increase the font size, and you just have a look at this. So this is my first variable. It has certain statements. So it has three statements. Look at this, है ना? And we have taken these statements from these people. These people have already used this variable in the previous study. And who has used this? These people have already used this variable in the previous studies, and it has this much of the statement. So when you send a questionnaire to the people, so this becomes a part, all these statements becomes a part of your questionnaire. And how do you write that questionnaire? Matlab, this becomes a part of your questionnaire, and you write on a 5-point scale. I'll tell you how. Is this point clear to all of you? This is the most important part that you should understand. Is this point clear to all of you? जो अभी बताया मैंने. Please raise your hands if this point is clear.
Yeah, ma'am.
Any question, any doubt? This is the most important thing. Whenever we are designing a questionnaire, whenever we are setting the objective of a synopsis, please understand this model is very, very important. If you have a very good model, so believe me to this, you will definitely get a very good you will get a matlab, your paper will get published in a very good journals, right? So like this is one model that my student has made. This is her one objective. Look at this. So she has made 3-4 models for her paper. So this is the first model. So let me show you. This is another model she has made. Look at this, right? And similarly, so this is on a conjoint analysis. This is a model 4. So she has made many models for her study. So you can make one model as well, or you can make as many as models that you want for your study. So she has 4 objectives, and she has made 4 models for her. So you can do either way. So this is one thesis of my student. This is another thesis of my student. So he has made one model, and he has 3 objectives: mediations and moderation, using that, right? So this is very, very important when we are talking about the synopsis writing, right? So synopsis writing may but what is important here is the variables. We have to take the variables that has already been tested. So this is the important thing. Now let's understand how to let's understand.
हेलो
हाँ जी,
मैम, हम वो वेरिएबल्स भी ले सकते हैं जो अभी तक टेस्ट नहीं हुए?
हाँ बिल्कुल ले सकते हो.
जैसे ए का इम्पैक्ट हमने बी पे अभी तक ये चेक नहीं हुआ स्टडी में कि ए का इम्पैक्ट बी पे पड़ता है, तो क्या हम उससे ऐड कर
हाँ,
सकते हैं
बिल्कुल
सिर्फ इसी
बिल्कुल
स्टडी में?
बिल्कुल कर सकते हो, यू कैन ऑलवेज ऐड दोज। जो
ओके मैम,
नहीं हुआ है तो बिल्कुल कर सकते हो,
ठीक है मैम, थैंक यू।
राइट? एनी अदर क्वेश्चन? Okay. So what is the next thing that we have to do? So these are very, very important things, है ना? So what is the next thing that we have to do when we are talking about the synopsis? Okay, so let me show you research methodology. Now, what we have already done. So what all will come? So we have already seen the review of literature part. We have already seen synopsis writing में. Let me, what I have told you till now. Next is setting objective, right? On the basis of the objective, you have to write the hypothesis as well. You have to write the research questions as well. है ना? This is a part of the objective, right? So hypothesis writing, like let me show you how do you write the hypothesis. That is also a part of this your synopsis. Look at this. Look at this. Every objective. Can you see to this? So one of the this is one of the model objective one. So my student has written three objective with respect to this, like financial factors have a significant impact on investors motivation to do the impact. Just read this, all of you. I want each one of you to read the hypothesis. This is the model. Let me show you. So these are the three factors: financial factors, social and personal factors that motivates the people to invest into impact investing, right? So usne, what is the three hypotheses she has taken? So these are the three hypotheses. Okay. Let me tell you, this is the right way of writing the hypothesis for your study. Do not write the negative one. So do not go for financial. We always write both the hypotheses, but normally now what you can write is you can always write a positive hypothesis. Now, financial factors have a significant impact on investors' motivation to do impact investment in India. Social factors and personal factors. So and give the names in continuation H1, H2, and H3. So similarly, so this is our first model, right? And for the second model, फिर attitudes, फिर continuation में वहां पर we have given H3 तक. Now we'll give H4, H5, and H6. So attitude towards impact has a significant impact on investor intention to do impact investing in India. Prescribed subjective. Now according to what you are trying to understand, what you are trying to understand in your model, on the basis of your model. Look at this. So she has written, marked the arrows as well. Can you see the arrows towards it? So this is the arrows H4 and H5 and H6. So these are the again three hypotheses. First three hypotheses in the first objective, and next three hypotheses with the second objective, right? And this is the dependent variable basically, and these are the independent variables, right? So we are trying to understand the impact of attitude, subjective norm, and perceived behavior control on investor intention to do the impact investing, right? So she has taken the scales, and these are the variables. I'm telling you again. So these are the different variables, four variables again, and we are trying to check the impact of these on the left hand side, on the right hand side. So this is your dependent variable, and these are your independent variables, right? So this is how you write the hypothesis. Ye to conjoint pe tha, that was a different one. So this is again this one. Right? So this is how you write the hypothesis of the study. Now, what is the next topic that comes? Any questions till now? किसी को कुछ पूछना है? Okay.
वन मैम, अगर ये हमारा ना प्राइमरी डेटा ना होकर के सपोज आई एम हैविंग अ सेकेंडरी डेटा विथ मी, then in
Okay.
that case, see the model.
हाँ, फिर तो there will not be any model, ma'am.
uh,
Model will be a difficult one then to make.
yes, okay.
Because normally what we do is this in primary study. Yes, we are
Okay. In
mainly
case,
talking about here is about the
primary.
primary study.
Thank you.
And yeah, I hope it is clear. Okay, so let's move to the next aspect of it. Okay, then is the research methodology part, right? So what is important over here is you have to यहाँ पर when we are writing a synopsis, you do not have to give a detailed research methodology part. It will only be the a very overview of it. It is not very बहुत in depth is not required, only overview is required. Like you will be using the primary data, right? Primary data will be collected through semi-structured questionnaire, and it will be open-ended and close-ended questions, and it will be on a 5-point Likert scale like this. And secondary data, where you are going to collect the information on this topic, that is an impact investing, because this was a new concept. She started her thesis in the year 2018, so it is not much of the data is not very easily available, so she has to go for these kind of secondary data has to be collected from this. So this she has mentioned just like this, right? Area of the proposed study, from where you are going to get your data. So this is the area, a very not an in-depth, just a brief overview. How many what will be your sampling method, what will be your sample size, just a brief overview, like how many she has actually may she has collected the data from 400 people. So and what are the different tools that you will be using. So we have just mentioned that we will be using SPSS and AMOS, because at that time AMOS was in trend. So we have used or mentioned SPSS and AMOS, that the PLSM has less people uses less PLSM. So we have mentioned SPSS and AMOS in this case, right? But we have to use the SEM, we know that, and the conjoint analysis also. So this is this all a very small portion of it goes for the research methodology part when you are writing your synopsis, right? Just a brief overview of the things, the tools that you are going to use, what will be your sample size, what is the area of your study. So a brief overview of this is required when you are talking about the research methodology part, right? And in the last what we do in our this thing college, when the students they do go for a thing is tentative chapter scheme. So these are the chapter schemes. Like it means what it means in my final thesis, how will I move about it. So first will be the introduction, second is a review of literature, research methodology, interpretation of data, like this we have to proceed on. So this we give a brief overview of this as well, right? And in the end, you know that, so that there is a references. So and one more thing is there, like there has to be an introduction as well. और ये starting के pages तो depends on your university, how your university want it to be. So this is what our university wants this to be like this. So we make it like this. And indexing may just have a look at this. I want each one of you to please read this. This is for this one. This paper, this synopsis only. This index is for the synopsis. Referencing में we do not put any number, and for even appendices. So introduction is again there. So introduction may, let's say if it is on impact investing, right? So you have to write about that, what is impact investing, right? And you make different headings into this. Please try to have different headings into this. So when we are writing the introduction part, so let me tell you, synopsis writing may first is the introduction, but this comes later on. So what will you write into the introduction? Uh, you know, your the let's say it is on impact investing, right? So what are the benefits? You write stuff like this. What are the benefits of doing impact investing? What is the status of impact investing in India? We are from India and in the world as well. How many people? How many people are investing in impact investing like this, right? And even if your topic demands, like let's say her topic is like a behavior study of the impact investors in India, right? So she can, or you can write about the investors benefit of impact investing, and who all are investing in impact investing with different headings. Please remember this. You make different headings of this in the introduction part, right? So introduction parts, along with this, what is required is you put in-text citation as well properly. Do put maximum in-text citation properly. Okay. And try to have the latest in-text citation, like 2024 is going on. So from 2020 till 2024, the maximum of the in-text citation should be from 2020 to 2024. I'm not saying that you do not put the old citations. Please do put the old citations, but what is important that you put the latest citations from 2020 to 2024 as well. They should be maximum in number, right? So this is all about the synopsis writing. So let me repeat this again. So what are the different sections? First is the introduction, but this you will write later on. What is the first section that you will be writing? The review of literature. So this is the most important part. Uh, from here only you will be able to set your objectives. Okay. Need of the study, right? Need of the study, research gap. These all will be, this all also you will be writing here. And what is the first important step to write the synopsis is the review of literature, right? And setting the objective, and the basis on all these two things, that is a review of literature and the setting of the objective, the other things will put in place, right? So these are the two important things that has to be started first. First is review of literature and then setting objective, and based on this the whole things will lined up. I hope this is clear to all. Any questions till now? Everybody is clear? Please raise your hands if it is clear. Any questions?
Ma'am, it is clear. Yeah, thank you.
Any other? Okay, so let me tell you now how to design a questionnaire as well. Let me the next important aspect is how to design your questionnaire. Okay, I was talking to one of my friends, and let me tell you one thing. So what you people normally do is, what you normally do is, like, you make a questionnaire just like that, है ना? Let me show you that questionnaire if it opens up Just give me a minute. I'm opening a one questionnaire. I'm sharing that questionnaire with me, myself, and then I'll share it with you. Just give me a minute. Let me check. Just give me a minute. I'm just trying to share one questionnaire with you so that you should know what is the correct way of writing a questionnaire. Just a minute. Okay, before that, I can share with you the right one as well. Ek minute, just give me the thesis of Prerna. So let me show you her questionnaire. Okay, now just have a look at this. Okay, so now the next important thing is, let me close down everything now. Okay, one thing I must tell you. So when you are designing a questionnaire, right? So I had a word with one of my student yesterday. So what that student was saying, ki like you have first objective, you make one questionnaire and float it. Then you have second questionnaire, you make your questionnaire and then float it. No, this is absolutely a wrong way of doing it. What you have to do is all the objectives that you have, you should make one questionnaire and float it once. Please understand and remember this, the people, they do not have the time to fill your questionnaire again and again. So it is always mandatory. I'm saying it is mandatory for you to make the questionnaire at once. So how do you design your questionnaire, right? So this is the next topic that I'm going to tell you, how to design a questionnaire, right? So first, it is divided into two parts. The questionnaire has two parts. First part is the demographic profile of the respondent. The person who is going to fill your questionnaire is called as a respondent. So demographic profile of the respondent, and then the main questions with respect to the variables. So it is divided into two parts. First is the demographic profile of the respondent. So let me show you that. Just read these questions. Everybody, please read these questions. These are the basic demographic profile of the respondent. What does it? So you can see name of the respondent, age, like this. These are the basic questions. Look at this. These are the very basic questions, right? So these are the basic questions that you want the person to answer about that person, right? This is on impact investing. Are you able to understand? Please raise your hands if you are able to understand this. Why I am asking you again and again is so that I should know simultaneously, like you are able to understand the things, right? So look at this. So these are very basic questions, demographic profile, or some basic questions, right? Now, look at this. This is where the questionnaire starts from. These are the upar tak. Till here, till section 3, this is the basic profile, basic questions of the respondent. Now the main questions related to the impact investing and related to the variables, right? So these questions are related to the variables. uh, Look at this. Rate the following statements on the basis of how it motivates you to make impact investing. So these are the statements. These are the different statements, right? So first few statements, that is on financial factors. Some of them is on social factors, because we have three factors onto this. Let me show you this. This is the synopsis. Let me take you. Okay. So this is your first objective. This is our first objective. So we have this variable, and this variable, and this variable as well. So when we are designing the questionnaire, so ye all the statements, first all the statements belong to the first objective. Look at this. Some of them belong to the social factors, some of them belong to the financial factors, and some for the personal factors. So the person has to rate them. The person has to rate them. Just now understand this section 4, section 4, that is covering your first objective. Before that, till section 3, you have the basic questions, the demographic profile questions, and the basic questions. From the fourth section, your first objective is being covered. So you have to talk about, like, you are selecting this on a 5-point Likert scale. So this is a 5-point Likert scale. So these are the statements for the variables. So what are the different variables? Financial factors, social factor, personal factors, and motivational factors. So these are the statements with respect to those variables, and the person has to tick either of this, right? So like this, I make investment in such social enterprise that provides expected high financial returns in the long term. So this is, आप देख सकते हो, this is related to the financial motive. Why a person is investing into impact investing is because to earn the financial returns. Strongly agree or neutral. So this depends, मतलब ये person will tick on to this, right? So ये सारे के सारा जो section 4 है, that is related to the question objective 1. Next है information regarding challenges faced by impact while impact investor. So this is on second objective. Now, what is your second objective? Yeah, we have already covered our first objective. Now, our questions will relate to these 4 factors. Now, our questionnaire, next section of our questionnaire will consist of those statements. Those are related to these variables. Please understand attitude, subjective norm, perceived behavior control, investor intention to do the impact investing. So this is our next questionnaire. Fifth section consists of the statements related to this variable. Next, conjoint analysis that won't be having. So the next section will consist of the questionnaire related. This is a different study. Third question was on a conjoint analysis. It was a different study, and it does not it has a different set of questions. वो अलग ही था. But now you can see, you can use the PLSM again onto this. So you will be taking these variables now, right? So next section 6 will consist of those questions related to objective 4. So what I am trying to say here is, when you are floating your questionnaire, ये वाला, अच्छा, so what I am trying to tell you here is, like, you have different segments. You have different segments in one questionnaire. Please remember, when you are writing the statements like this, so do it in a sequence only. Do not write ki ek question likh diya, you just write one question on a scale, then a simple question. No, please do make your questionnaire like this. All the variables, they should be in a sequence, because it's become easier for the respondent to respond your questions and queries. I hope, is it clear to all of you? Please raise your hand if it is clear to all of you. Any question, any doubt till here? किसी को कुछ पूछना है?
Ma'am, one thing I want to ask that
Yes.
these statements, lot of statements are there in each question. For each objective, there are different statements. So, do we do all these things only in case of structural equation modeling, or it can be done in other analysis also? For suppose there is principal component analysis, or if there is suppose factor analysis. So, in that case also,
Yes.
need to-
This paper of mine is in factor analysis. Look at this. This is a factors that we have. First, the factor analysis is to be done, once you have the statements, right? So you have to run the factor analysis as well. You can run. So matlab, normally run the factor analysis first onto this. Then only your factors become, and then पहले factors को ही तो check करोगे. Normally तो हम यही करते हैं ना, like in this paper, like this is a paper on a green board. So what I have done is I have taken the factors. These are the statements that I have taken. Look at this. And then extraction and commonalities, Bartlett's test. So we test all these, like all the statements are fitting to our sample or not. So this is what the first thing that you go for, no? Factor analysis. Once all the statements, maybe some of the statements are not fitting for you in this. So what you will do is, I always go for the factor analysis first, and then I go for PLSM. Look at this. This is what I have done. Is it clear, Preeta ji?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear now.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other question?
One
Okay.
thing more, ma'am. One
Hanji.
thing more, like you said that we have to make two sections. The first section is the demographic sections, and the second is the main questionnaire to the variables. Now, suppose I want to relate the demographic with that of the variables, then in that.
हाँ बोलिए.
So suppose I need to, relate the variables to the demographic. So then in that case,
Okay. तो आप नहीं, आप कर लीजिए ना उसको, like आपके what I'm trying to tell you here is, like ये आपके मेन क्वेश्चंस है, क्योंकि वेरिएबल्स है ना आपके. सो वेरिएबल्स की स्टेटमेंट्स होगी, ऐसे ऐसे चली गई. सो आप कभी भी इसको कनेक्ट कर सकते हो ना, जैसे आपने इनकम के साथ या एज के साथ करना है, या नीचे वाले इस क्वेश्चंस के साथ भी कर सकते हो आप. What kind of investment have you made by your organization for? Like you can relate this question with the gender. You can always do that as well. वो तो आप कोई भी टेस्ट लगा सकते हो आफ्टर दिस. आपको काई स्क्वायर लगाना है या फिर हाँ
मैम, जैसे आपने ना सेक्शन 2 में देयर आर सिंपल क्वेश्चंस लाइक वेयर यू इन्वेस्ट, लाइक तो एक ही क्वेश्चन से कुछ हो सकता है क्या, और वी नीड टू गो फॉर मल्टीपल स्टेटमेंट्स?
जैसे आप ये 6th क्वेश्चन और ऊपर जेंडर आप ले सकते हो ना, कि व्हाट काइंड ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट हैव बीन मेड बाय योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन फॉर इम्पैक्ट इन्वेस्टिंग इन इंडिया. सो यू कैन, आप कितने भी मल्टीपल क्वेश्चंस कर सकते हो. वो तो डिपेंड करता है ना आपके ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है और आप क्या क्या करना चाहते हो इसमें. जैसे अब आप ये भी है, इन विच सेक्टर डज योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन डूइंग इम्पैक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट. तो आप यहाँ पर भी यू कैन टेक दिस क्वेश्चन एंड यू कैन either educational qualification, age, इनके साथ भी you can see like what is the relationship. So this all depends on your this thing, objective. Yes.
Oh, thank you.
वो तो आप कैसे भी ले सकते हो. What I am trying to tell you here is, in the questionnaire you have two segments. A questionnaire has two segments. One is basically the demographic profile, and उसके बाद भी आप subsections बना सकते हो, but the main division of the questionnaire is two. Demographic profile is entirely different, and other questions related to the variables. So this is what I'm trying to tell you.
Hello.
हाँ जी माधुरी जी.
हाँ मैम, आपने अभी बोला कि आप फैक्टर एनालिसिस वो करके देते हैं स्टेटमेंट के, हर
Yeah.
स्टेटमेंट के या question। तो फैक्टर एनालिसिस कैसे करते हैं वो एक्सप्लेन करो क्या?
वो ma'am, that I need to that we have to go for SPSS and all that. That is not a part of this. मतलब मैंने अभी क्योंकि synopsis और thesis कैसे लिखना है वो था, that is entirely different. उसके अंदर ना पूरा आपको you need to do the analysis part. वो बहुत ही टेक्निकल में आ जाएगा, बट दैट इज बहुत उसमें यू नीड टू टेक द जो क्वेश्चंस हैं उसके आंसर्स यू नीड टू टेक फ्रॉम द पीपल, दैट वे यू हैव टू गो फॉर इट। पूरा डेटा आपको चाहिए एंड देन यू हैव टू गो फॉर इट। एसपीएसएस में
Okay.
रन होगा बेसिकली, पीएलएसएम का आई हैव नो आइडिया, बट हाँ एसपीएसएस में रन हो जाएगा वो। इवन आर सॉफ्टवेयर में रन हो जाएगा, और भी सॉफ्टवेयर हैं जिनमें रन हो जाएगा, बट आई नॉर्मली डू इट इन एसपीएसएस।
ओके, तो ये फैक्टर एनालिसिस थीसिस के लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है, हम रिसर्च पेपर के लिए भी कर सकते हैं?
अब एक्चुअली व्हाट यू नॉर्मली डू इज, जैसे आपके जितने भी ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हैं, लेट्स से यू हैव 5 ऑब्जेक्टिव या 4 ऑब्जेक्टिव, सो एवरी ऑब्जेक्टिव यू कैन मेक वन पेपर, you can write one paper with respect to your objective, different objectives. So for one objective you have to write paper, right? And for second as well, so you apply the factor analysis and all those tools you use, and then you write it down. Paper तो ऐसे ही लिखोगे ना?
यस मैम।
क्योंकि because I have to tell you right now, like how you go for setting your objective, how you go for questionnaire design and all that. So tomorrow I'll be talking about how do we write a paper, a good paper, so that it can be published into and how do you write, how do you मतलब thesis को how do you write the papers, different objectives होते हैं, उनको papers कैसे बनाते हो, how do we go about the papers and research methodology. So all theory will be I'll be talking about right now. Is it okay, Madhuri ji?
यस मैम।
Okay. Anybody else? Anything else? Any question? I hope it is clear to all. सबको समझ में आया? Please raise your hands if you have able to understand.
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay. So we do not have any query. Okay, nice. Sir, Mulana sir, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
So can we end this session here?
Yes, definitely.
So,
Okay. All right. Thank you so much once again, all of you, for your active participation, and thank you, ma'am, for the wonderful
thank you,
session.
sir.
So we shall catch up tomorrow at 7 p.m.
Right,
Thank you
sir.
once again. Thank you.
Ma'am,
Good night.
can we have your phone number to connect?
It is there on the WhatsApp group. You can always write
All right.
on the WhatsApp group your queries.
All right, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. हाँ जी प्रीता जी।
मैं बोल रही थी मैम, हम लोग को रिकॉर्डिंग तो मिलेगा ना इसका?
हाँ जी हाँ जी हाँ जी।
Okay.
Bholanath sir will give you the recording.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Ma'am, you will be also discussing, no, tomorrow, like you will be discussing about the papers also, no?
Yes.
Papers in the sense in which this one journal we can actually.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll tell you that.
If you can just mention some of
Sure,
the
sure, sure.
research
I'll do
journals
that.
where we can actually.
Sure, I'll do it.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am.